Jackie Kashian, Laurie Kilmartin.
Oh, Jackie, you tried to close the door before the countdown,
And there it is.
it's open.
It's
What are
open.
we gonna do?
Oh, the one behind? Yeah, I meant the one coming that way, which is where everybody is playing the
It's
double
game night.
expansion games of a game of Clank.
Okay.
And so I've closed the door to that, and so hopefully there will be no drama coming at me. Boy, did I lose. I was killed in the depths. Let's that just be said that my dungeon crawl ended poorly with me falling over in a heap. Hey, where are you doing comedy in January, Laurie Kilmartin, at lauriekilmartin.com?
Oh, well, you know what? Let's not even start. Let's start with December because it's Christmas Day.
Oh, that's
For our
right.
Listeners, it's Wednesday. Friday and Saturday, I will be at the Dead Crow in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then New Year's Eve, I'll be at the Stand, doing 6 shows at the Stand.
Oh, my gosh.
Just going up and down, up and down. Hey, I am saving on cab fare. I'm pretty excited. So I'll just plant myself there and do a bunch of sets. And then 3rd and 4th of January, I'm at the Comedy Fort at Fort Collins. This looks to be my only... if you're waiting for me to be booked at a club in Denver, please don't wait. It's
come to Fort Collins.
Apparently, I don't have enough followers to be booked at a club in Denver, or I'd have that on my calendar.
It's just an hour. It's just an hour away.
It really is, and
it's a great club, though. Yeah,
it's a great club. It's a great town. So stop by. Please come to the shows if you are a listener and nearby. And then the 24th and 25th, I will be at Bananas in Rutherford, New Jersey.
Wow.
/
right.
Hasbrook Heights, and that's my January. I am working on a thing. I can tell you about it later, but I will be. Although I don't have much, I have like a week in February at Acme, the 5th through the 8th in Minneapolis. And then it's like it was kind of dry. And I'm like, you know what? It's dry for a reason because I need
to get some work.
I would have had to cancel shit. So it's okay. I'm not freaking out. Overall, I'm freaking out because I don't have things to cancel.
But you got stuff. But you got something.
Jackie, I look at it as I should have 8 weeks to cancel, and I don't. So it's absolutely a failure.
Oh my God. I'm going to hang up on you right now. All right. Well, to get me to do stand-up comedy on New Year's Eve, you'd have to pay me a great deal of money. I don't want to. I don't want any part of it. It's an amateur night that I don't feel like being a hall monitor for. So I'm not working until the 3rd and 4th. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. I assume the slithering will have already begun so that the douchebags can celebrate the 6th. But I'll be at the D.C. Loft in the 3rd and 4th. The 9th, 10th, and 11th, I will be at Denver at the Comedy Works, the fancy club that I am beloved because somebody played all of my albums in the early 2000s. And so I am beloved in Denver, and I love Denver right back at you. Though I do love Fort Collins, too, but she likes enough time in between them. So it's been hard for me to figure out when to get to Fort Collins.
I don't know what she likes. You know what I know she doesn't like? Me.
I have jury duty the week after that. So I'll be doing some shows around LA the week of the 13th through the 19th. The week after that, I will be following Maria Bamford around southern states, you guys. Charleston, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, and Jacksonville, Florida. That'll be the 23rd through the 25th. The week after that is Andy Ashcraft's birthday, so try not to work that time. And I don't have any fancy things to tell you about, so I guess I'll just tell you that in February, I'm going to be in Sacramento with Maria on the 1st, and then the 6th. That's it, the 6th, 7th, and the 7th and 8th, probably. I'll be in Seattle, February. The weird, February 14th, Valentine's Day, traditionally the week that women comics work all over this great nation. I'll be at Cincinnati, Bombs Away in Cincinnati.
Oh, I forgot. I'm working in Santa Cruz that night on the 14th.
Of course you are. Do you know why? Because you're a woman comic. And so Valentine's Day is available.
Yes.
Yes. And the following week, February 20 through 22, I'll be in Royal Oak.
You just diminished my date. I hardly have any. And instead of being positive, you're like,
because you're going to be making tens of thousands of dollars writing for people. So why don't you just call
that's not the amount.
You're going to be so sad. I'm trying to tell people my dates here. I didn't interrupt you for the first time ever. So
there's nothing to interrupt. I have 3 fucking dates because this business sucks and no one wants me. There's nothing to interrupt.
Well, that's why I kept going, was to show you that I did have something to interrupt. So, because you don't have anything to interrupt, because you finally got some writing work, which is what you've wanted, because you want insurance. She stormed out, you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Rangers. No, that's a different podcast. Yeah, you should totally listen. This week's Stork Forest is going to be amazing. I wonder if she'll come back. It's always a crap show. Oh, look, she's decided to come back. She's decided to come back, you guys. It's going to be fantastic.
By the way, no one showed up in Arizona. Thanks, listeners.
Oh, I didn't have anybody in Grand Rapids either.
Why are we spending our time aggravating me, I guess, only announcing our dates when fucking people barely show up?
Well, nobody lives there, so you're doing great.
No one lives in Phoenix? Okay.
No one lives in not. My nephew is actually in Phoenix. He's going to medical school there, but it turns out he's busy cutting up the dead. He doesn't have time to go see stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. Did you work this week? Was there work this week? Did you have a good time on the road?
I was not on the road. I have been home this week, and I had spots here and there and here and there. I did have to cancel the ripped bodice because there was a nail in my tire, and I was afraid to drive that far.
Yeah.
I thought if it was flappers, I would have chanced it.
You're at Burbank to Burbank or something like that.
Local streets, yes.
Yep.
But that felt too far, and then got that fixed. Now I brought it into the tire guys the week before, and they're like, "Oh, all the tires are low," and they filled them all with air, but they didn't catch the nail. I went to Valvoline to get because the lights are all coming on in the car, and it's an old car, so I don't know what they're for. So I just went to Valvoline, and they're like, "Oh, there's a nail in your tire."
Yeah. Because they're looking at it from underneath. I mean, the great thing about Valvoline is that it's not like a regular place where they jack the car up.
Yeah,
they have it set up so that they're just looking under the skirts of the whole thing, and they can see it all. Yep.
I mean, they don't get under the car. There's no one down underneath that hole. They don't move the car. When you're getting your oil change, they don't lift the car up. I'm in the car.
Do you stay in the car?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which Valvoline do you go to? Not the one on Riverside. By the Zanku Chicken?
Are we doing cross streets of a Valvoline on our podcast? Is that what it's come to?
You guys, that's the good Valvoline for me. Is I like the one that's kind of by Zanku Chicken. I used to go to the Baja Fresh. Now I go to the Zanku Chicken because it's owned by Armenians.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad you're loyal. You know what? I'm becoming more loyal to Armenians after, what's his name from the Young Turks, Sank or Chank? He went on Turning Points USA. He's done the horseshoe thing where he's like ultra leftist, and now he's going on right wing stuff. So you know what? Again, I side with the Armenians.
I was just talking to Dana Gould about this. I was on just via Threads, so not really.
Yeah.
But because someone said that they just found out that Zank was a douche nozzle, and I was like, I was on the Young Turks once, and then I realized that the name of it wasn't ironic. They were not being ironic. They were proud of the Young Turks of the late 1800s, which ended up being the architects of the Armenian genocide.
Right.
So I don't know why they asked me on, honestly. It turns out I'm Armenian. So, and they're a pile of douche nozzles who have always been, they've always been those fake feminist, fake liberal. I mean, those guys are, I can spot those guys pretty well and have been able to for a good 30 years where I'm just like, oh, furniture between me and that fuckwit. Yeah. Anyway, but
they're just they're too loud about their activism, and it makes me very suspicious. Like the real
And well, it ought.
male feminists don't mention it. They're just nice.
No.
they're just
No,
cool
they're just
people.
nice. They're just
Yeah.
decent human beings.
Yeah.
And then hopefully when we're not around, they say stuff like, "Hey, man, that's not cool." That's all.
I would even just take not laughing at it, right? Or just being like,
Right. Well, that's because we've
That's
settled
not for
for a
me.
lot less. We've settled for a lot less.
mm-hmm.
We're going to need more from you guys in your 30s. Yeah, I will say, so right after we recorded last time,
Yes.
I think I had just gotten home from the Chicago road. And then Andy and I took a 2-day trip up to Cambria to where there was a Christmas sort of lights thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, if somebody's dad was given an unlimited budget to put up lights wherever and however, and then that's what it was. And so there was sort of a Christmas market.
Mm-hmm.
I might be Christmas marketed out. I think this might have done it. Last year, I believe we went to Solvang. So we might.
You did.
I don't think we need to go. Like next year, I was talking about going to maybe going to Europe and taking this sort of Viking tour of Christmas markets. I don't think we need to. I think it'll be fine. And
Yeah, I would like to go to a German Christmas market. I feel like those are the best.
Copenhagen is supposed to be the place.
Oh.
And
would
we could
do
just
that.
fly there. We don't need to take a tour of several of them. We just go to one of them. That'd be great. And then, but the second, so it was fancy in the way that we stayed on the lodge. It came with a breakfast, sort of a glamorous Hampton Inn kind of cup of waffle.
Yeah.
So not entirely worth it. And then the first night, it was a beautiful room, had a fireplace, very lovely.
Nice. Did you
Second-
make a fire?
It was gas.
Okay.
So it was even easier. Yes, I did. I turned it up. And but the second night, get this, the power went out in the middle of the night, which would not have been a problem, except for that the smoke alarms, the beeping went off every 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Oh, God.
Andy got up in the ceiling, took it down, took the batteries out. There was a hidden one we couldn't find. That was at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, no.
So we went to the front desk and they said, we could move you, but it would be about a half a mile away to the other side of the lodge.
Oh, my God.
And so we tried to sleep in the lounge area. And then everybody came for breakfast an hour and a half later. But there was no maintenance people there till 7. And they said, well, we're going to give you a deal on the second night.
It should be free.
It should be at least 50%. We only got to sleep 50% of the night.
Right.
$100, which was less than, it was probably 20%. It was like a $500 night.
That's the exact amount JetBlue gave me off my next flight after the guy was masturbating next to me.
Oh,
That seems to be the golden amount these corporations will give.
Well, and then here's what the error they made. They sent me a survey. How'd it go? How'd you like it?
Oh, right.
I was like, I didn't like it. I've gotten no response to my survey, by the way. And it's fine. I don't have to go back. But that was so that was Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we drove back. I had another 6 a.m. flight Thursday morning
God.
where I had to get to Grand Rapids and do a show that night at 8 p.m. So I didn't really get to sleep. A little punchy. Kind of a fun show because it was punchy. That was kind of nice. Friday, 2 shows because Saturday I was doing an extra show that was online.
Right.
And I was looking for 20 minutes of older material because Facebook is going to own it forever, I guess.
Right.
And so I listened to 4 of my albums. And I have to tell you, the 2 shows on Friday,
Yeah.
I did all of my new stuff, all of it, including some new stuff that had been kind of nervous about. But you listen to 4 hours of previous material, like, I don't ever want to do any of this again. I'm definitely working on the new stuff. And I had 2 of the best sets. Such fun sets, those Friday both shows. Saturday afternoon was the virtual reality show in the metaverse. And the name of their, God dang it, there's a comedy club in the metaverse. If you have Oculus,
Who are you talking to now? Because it's not me.
our listeners,
Okay.
yeah, because they might. And T Barb, former comic of the week, she featured for me all weekend, and she emceed the metaverse thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there were probably 20 comics, 20 audience members who were handpicked because they had come to lots of shows in this metaverse.
Okay.
Pete Holmes had done a show the day before, and so I did essentially from all like previous albums. I did all the video game stuff except for the really old Final Fantasy bit.
Yeah.
And after my set, they did a little Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
And the
it
woman,
really is modern comedy.
And so the woman runs one of the moderators is like, "Did you do a punchline?" Then she picked a punchline that was like 20 years old. And she said, "Is that you?" And I said, "Yes."
Wow.
And she said, "I've been looking for you for 20 years.
Oh my God. What This is a love story. What was the punchline? What's the joke?
It was an Andy joke. It was an Andy throwaway line about him going to the altar. It wasn't even it wasn't even
joke?
It wasn't the main part of the joke. It was where he wanted to wear a crown, and I said he could carry a pork chop and wear his underpants, and I didn't care. And she was like, "Is that your line?" And I was like, "Yes, nobody else has said that, to my knowledge." And but then another guy, because they were all full on, I was like, "You guys need to listen to the Dork Forest. Are you kidding me?" And because one of the other guys was like, "So you're married to a game designer? I'm a game designer. Are you okay with how many? Like, does he also collect stuff?" And I was all of a sudden, it was a little bit of a romantic advice that I was giving this young man. And I was like, there's a Hot Wheel collection that dominates our garage. Yes, you're correct. So it's okay, buddy. You'll find her. Just be open to it. Just be open to it.
That's nice.
Anyway, but the Saturday shows, first show blew.
Why?
People had an okay time. They kind of sat themselves.
Oh.
So and there weren't that many of them because in the next building over was some TikTok comic. Mm-hmm. That guy that I texted the text thread, and then several of the women comics said that he was a douche nozzle, and he'd been like 15-year-olds are free because he was a TikTok star guy.
So potentially having sex, doing the Matt Gaetz, perhaps. Yeah,
it turns out he was a bit of a predator. Okay, is the rumor mill.
He was stealing the audience for that night.
He stole the audience for that night of just walk-ins on a Saturday in Grand Rapids, because Grand Rapids is sort of the most conservative. Traverse City can be too, but Grand Rapids can be pretty conservative. And all the stuff that I'm working on is either socio-political. I mean, I've got 20 minutes. That's, my mother-in-law and the driving stuff. So, yeah. A fan of mine gave me this button, by the way, and it says, "Sorry, I don't remember your name."
That's great.
He hand wrote it and then made it into a button. He also gave me 500 buttons. He's the guy who gave me the buttons that say Jackie Kashian, and then in small writing it says, "Not Laurie Kilmartin." And he also had some buttons that said
sellers.
He also I give him away. Okay. He also has some that say Laurie Kilmartin, and then in tiny letters it says, "Not Jackie Kashian."
Well, that's sweet. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well.
So that was that weekend.
Was the music coming through the walls?
Oh yeah,
the Bob, mm-hmm.
The Bob, and Dr. Grins at the Bob, where every floor is something else. And I was in an elevator with 5 just young women who were going to the 4th floor to dance.
Right.
And I was listening, because it's a small elevator.
Of course.
And one of the women goes, "I don't think I've ever been here in this many clothes and sober." And so as the elevator opens on the 3rd floor, I go, Yeah, the 5th floor is actually a sex club, so you need an invite for that. And two of the ones that didn't speak go, "Is that true? Wait a minute, what?" And as the door closes, I go, "I made that up."
Yeah, that's a fun place, and I love Dr. Grins. I love Grand Rapids at that time of year. I think the last time I was there was right around Christmas, and it's so pretty. They light the trees.
Really pretty.
Oh, it's really cool. I think I'm there in June.
I also pinged Roger Feeney because whenever I'm in Michigan, I always reminded of the clubs in Michigan I'm not doing.
Right, exactly.
And so I was like, I texted Roger. I was like, "Aren't I due?" And then he said, "You'll be happy to hear this. This will actually infuriate you." He said, "I have some dates in April and May." And I wrote him back and I said, "My first weekend's available in June." And so he has not responded to that.
Good. I hope he never talks to you again.
He will. He likes me.
He likes me too.
What's not to like, Laurie?
Oh, well, guess what? I have a list right now. Cocky, arrogant, working.
I'm not. Right. So next week, I think I have some sets. Not this week because it's Christmas. I might have something on the weekend in town. If I do, I'll let you'll hear about it on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, something like that. Stay posted.
I have a set tomorrow night at Flappers on Christmas Eve, and then that'll be it. I fly out on Thursday to Wilmington because I'm flying out a day early because I can't fly to North Carolina and do 2 shows in one night.
No,
it's too much.
And you shouldn't be. No one should expect that. It was hard for me to fly to Grand Rapids, which is in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
Just because there is no direct and I had to go LAX. And then I flew back to LAX, and Andy was like, "I'll come pick you up." And I was like, "Midday on a Sunday before Christmas at LAX?" And he was like, "Right."
What did you do?
Lyft.
Okay. Do you have to take a bus to the lift?
Not if you do the expensive lift, which I treated myself because I made $1,500 doing a VR thing.
Sure.
So, or if I will make it if anybody ever sends me that check. Though I will say I channeled some of our stronger-willed brethren, and I was getting the tutorial of how to use the Oculus VR unit, and I said to the guy, "Can I have one of those?" And he said, "Wait, what?" And I said, Can I have a setup?"
Wait, you're asking a guy from Meta to give you a free Oculus?
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
And he goes, "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, think about it. I would like one." And then he goes, "Well, I like that you've asked." And I said, "Well, you got to ask." And an hour later, he said, "Yeah, sure."
Whoa!
And it has Arkham on it. It's free.
Are they sending it to you?
They handed it to me.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I don't know what Arkham is. What's that?
It's a Batman video game.
Oh.
In surround in virtual reality.
Wow.
So and it's the Quest 3S, which I guess is the state of the art. The very latest.
Well, good. I guess you're fully, you're pro Zuckerberg. You're all in. You're on Threads. You're on Facebook. You're on Instagram. Good for you, Jackie.
Yeah, it's
give it all to that guy.
It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to sell out even harder. Is Temu offering me anything? Is there a way that I can somehow? I don't know.
TikTok is looking like it's in bad shape. And, yeah,
I don't know anything about it. What is it?
The U.S. government wants TikTok's owner to sell its stake in it because they're Chinese, and the U.S. is accusing China of using TikTok to spy. Who knows? That might be happening. I don't trust the U.S. government. I also think they just don't want videos about Palestinians to be infiltrating the minds of Americans, right? But that also might be true about China. I have no fucking idea. But it's going to the Supreme Court, which is very conservative, and I'm sure it will be no longer a thing we can post on, maybe in 2 months.
Hey, maybe it's no longer a thing we have to post on.
I know.
Remember when they took away my ad thing?
Yes.
And I tried to, because I picked the wrong videos to use as ads, and get this. I tried a different video. They took my money, Laurie.
Nice.
They just said, "Oh, sure," and then nobody showed up at Dr. Grin's because of those ads anyway. What? They took my cash. So
wait a minute. So how many? Because I did about $200 worth of ads for Arizona, and it was like bleak.
Yeah.
You know.
It was bleak. I did $200. It was $50 a day, 4 days. Supposedly, it reached 7,000 people in the Grand Rapids area,
right?
Kalamazoo area,
right?
Some people did come. I didn't. I sold almost no merch.
Wow.
They were, yeah. It was interesting. The walk-ins were. There was a couple of, my 2016 album had the first political stuff I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
The 2021 album wasn't particularly political. But this album will again be very political because we're in a different time. Mm-hmm. And because of the stuff I'm working on. And by the way, those jokes I texted you. There's jokes I can't do. I just they're too dark. Mm. They're too dark. I don't want to be arrested for treason.
Right.
But I have to, if I could work on them, I wouldn't be arrested for treason because I would have been able to massage them into something that bad guys, they wouldn't get them.
Right. So low merch,
a couple of banana heads in the first couple of rows, their arms folded.
Right.
Some lady just giving me a hairy eyeball for 40 minutes, and but other than that, it was super fun. The staff is so nice there. The working with T-Barb, always fun. Her son came. He's 16. Mm-hmm. He spent almost the entire time wearing their Oculus, just kind of watching. I think he was watching television or YouTube, and just kind of living it up. Mm-hmm. And yeah. So, but it was nice. I didn't get to.
You know what? Yeah. Here's the thing. I think that might happen with you because you're from the Midwest, right? Mm. They hear the accent. They're like, she's just like me. And then you're not. And then they get a little more angry at you than they would have if somebody was like obviously like some West Coast liberal. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
They'd be like, you were born contaminated by that brain disease. But, Jackie, what happened to you?
What happened to you? You look like one of them farm ladies from the 1800s. Why have you turned on your people?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. My people, it turns out, have brains. So why is that?
I went a different direction. But yes.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, you want to take a little bit of an early break? You want to do it? Okay. Let's do Comic of the Week.
Our Comic of the Week, we found her on Instagram. I don't know her, but she's very funny. Her name is Ashley Lusk. Ashley, spelled as one does. Lusk, Lusk. And her Instagram is Ashley Lusk Comedy.
Yes.
Just funny, subtle,
that's awesome.
It has a quiet voice, and it's very funny, and she's got funny jokes, and I like her a lot.
I love the quiet ones, because you know what? You know what a quiet lady comic should make you do? Should make you look around at your friends, and say to yourself, who's the funniest people you know? It's usually the quiet ones, who, if you happen to be sitting next to them, the snark. Mm-hmm. It's dead on. Don't overlook them.
The big talkers like Jackie Kashian get all the heat, but don't overlook those quiet talkers.
Right. I'm definitely going to get the stage time at lunch. But if you sit next to one of the quiet talkers, you're going to get some good lines. Your Pamela Waltz, your Ashley Lusks.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about this? I was on a podcast to promote something, right? I just did this person's podcast, and for a half hour, talked about comedy, talked about my first time on stage, a story I've told endlessly. That's fine. With good cheer, I spoke.
Right.
And then half hour the day before Christmas Eve, and then the podcast turns off, and the person goes, "Well, I'm going to try to catch your show." Really? Because you live there, and you're not gonna. Because I'm gonna try to do your podcast then.
Yes.
Okay. Because I showed up, so maybe you should show up.
Yeah. Just
like you're telling me I'm so great, I can't even convince you to come to my show. Why am I on this podcast? Who's gonna come to my show from this podcast?
Right. I know. I did a podcast, and he said he was going to come down, but he might get booked because I'm doing Denver, and they do showcase, shorter sets, and it was Jeff Tice.
Oh,
and so I did. Yeah, we did his new podcast, and he has a new podcast about it's about creativity and art and stand up, and it's only 45 minutes, so that was easy enough. Though I had to shout into the internet because for some reason my setup didn't work for the Dork Forest this week and for the Jeff Tice. So I don't know if Patrick Brady, I have not heard from Patrick Brady. It's supposed to go up. We're recording this Monday night, the 23rd.
Right.
The next episode of the Dork Forest is tomorrow. And it is with a friend of Matt Kirshen's. What the heck was that guy's name? But his dorkdom was pedestrianism, which was the first spectator sport in America, which was watching people walk long distances. 1867? Very weird.
Right after the Civil War.
Actually, right before 1860, because this guy would wear a top hat and like dress shoes,
right,
and walk, and he would write these letters home, and he'd be like, there's a war on. Like he walked from Boston to DC.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I just know by flights. I'm like, that's not that long of a flight, but whatever.
It turns out it's a hell of a walk.
That is, again, you find people with incredibly peculiar interests. I don't know how you feign your interest in their interest for an hour. You managed to.
Well, it's different. It's an entirely different podcast, but you ever think I use those skills here, Laurie?
Well, every once in a while.
Gotcha.
That's your whole existence, is you're trying to get me. That's it. I sense it. I know
like that you turned it around. You're like, I'm going to deny that I thought it was. Anyway, so, I don't know. We don't know what we're doing. Andy and I just going to be hanging out for Christmas. And every New Year's Eve, though, I do like what Andy has always done for New Year's Eve, which is get together with friends and play board games. I'm like, let's do that.
That's sweet. I mean, if you're a board gamer, that sounds like a great night, a great way to end a year, start a new one. I'm going to my friend Cheryl's. She's having a dinner for people, bringing my son, and
nice. That'll
be Christmas Day. Christmas Eve tomorrow. I'm sure. Are you going to? Hers. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see each other.
I'll see
there.
You there. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Very
and
it's just so weird to, my Christmases are not family oriented anymore. Because my sister's way up in Oregon, and
you just did your cousins for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I mean, Christmas was like my parents. It just doesn't feel the same, and I'm like, I'm not providing the same thing for my son that they provided for me. But it's just a different energy. I was like, do you wish you had brothers and sisters? I mean, he has a brother in Texas, but like here, like a mess of people that we all, connect with all the time. And he's like, nah. I mean, I think only kids are like very comfortable being only kids because they get everything. They get all the attention. There's nothing is split, but it doesn't, like when I look at my sister's setup, like the big tree, all the presents, just, I don't know. The extra kid just makes it, and the father.
Yes.
It's
right.
just me and
There's
my
sort of the
son,
partners, and it's the two of you, and you're just like, well, how about we go out for a nice dinner? You could do, I mean, you could kind of do whatever you want to do.
For him, a nice dinner for him is in and out from the drive-through and Yoshinoya. We do that a lot, so we have our own little traditions, I guess. It's just different from how I was raised, and it makes me think I've just been too casual the entire time.
I think you didn't you take him to Japan for Christmas once? Or?
Oh, that was really fun.
Yeah. Maybe I've been planning on this Christmas thing to take Andy to. I've been saving up for a couple of years, and I was going to take him, and then it just turns out I think I might just want to go to Maine and go on a sleigh ride, and maybe go to Rockefeller Center and go ice skating.
Yeah.
Or maybe we do go somewhere fancy like Copenhagen or Rome or London or something. London, they got top hats. Might be a top hat, Dickensy kind of.
Sure. You guys like to dress up. You like to cosplay as the people that you're visiting. I'm sure they enjoy that as well.
There were several pictures of me wearing this Santa. I bought a Santa. I'm using it as a coat, or it could also be a dress. I wore it as a dress to a party last week. But I look like Mrs. Santa Claus in it. I mean, I could stand to not look like Mrs. Santa Claus in the upcoming year. It'd be kind of great for me, but it's fine. Whatever. Journey continues.
I did get a screener of Baby Girl. That movie is shocking. It's Nicole Kidman having the most vulnerable and crazy sex with a young guy. And I was like, oh my God. She's like a couple years younger than us.
Yeah.
But she seems to really be going for it in her 50s, which I love,
Yeah.
Like,
good for her.
She plays a wealthy white woman like nobody. With a terrible spouse. That's her specialty.
Yeah. Sometimes I think she's tapping into something that exists, like a wealthy white woman.
Yeah.
Or
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we watched the Christmas movie we watched last night when I was super tired was The Thin Man. And
I've never seen that.
Well, it's great. Myrna Loy is amazing. And it's a Dashiell Hammett book that's adapted, and it takes place at between Christmas and New Year's. And so it's a mystery, but it's also just functioning alcoholism and Christmas. And it was made in 1934, so America needed to see rich people being rich and also drinking people drink.
Right.
And because I forget what year Prohibition was repealed, but it was right around then.
Yeah.
I think.
Right. And they were still in the Depression at that point.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was really bad in 34.
Yeah. We're like, I just feel like this is the last month of peace until the horror starts, It's so weird.
And it's already started, but it's gonna get worse before it gets better, and
or just worse.
Well, I mean, as this is what I think, and it's not entirely true, but this is the pep talk I'm telling myself is that 8 years ago I was scared, and I didn't know what it was going to be like, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And now I'm a little scared, and I don't entirely know what's going to happen and what it's going to be like, but I'm also angry. And also I know that I'm going to have to take steps. I'm going to have to get in the way of bad behavior. I'm going to have to, march on the streets, and I'm going to have to figure out, and the weird thing is my dates are all over this country next year. And so I don't know where I'll be when stuff goes down.
Right.
Because, I'm not going to I'm not going to be a spy because I'm so publicly sort of out there as someone who's in favor of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So I don't think anybody's going to be like if they wanted to call me on it, there's a lot of data that says that I'm a huge fan of being an adult woman who gets to read and vote. So when they want to take away my right to read and vote and leave the house, I'm going to react poorly to that. So,
yeah. I don't know what's coming. I'm very worried because it felt like in 2016 it was an accident, partially caused by mistakes Hillary made and partially caused by James Comey and the media focusing on her mistakes and not his, not taking them seriously. And this feels very on purpose. It makes me just go, oh, okay. So you guys liked that. Oh, okay. Interesting. Noted.
Yeah. Noted.
I don't know what to do, but it's weird. Like there was the New York firefighters, a union was really pissed because the Republicans, in an effort to appease the incoming president, stripped some money for 9/11 firefighter first responders from the budget. They were furious. And yet they had also declined to endorse somebody
Kamala
about a month earlier. And it was weird. I was like, all of a sudden I don't give a shit about that issue. Like, good luck to everybody, and no one deserves to die. But I have limited empathy, and guess I'm taking it back from you guys.
Turns out some people are going to reap what they have sown. Actually, we're all going to reap what they have sown.
We're all reaping. That's the thing.
Yes,
that's what sucks.
Yes.
That's what really sucks.
We will all reap what they have sown, and then we will rebuild. And it won't look like it did, probably. I don't know what America will look like, if it will look like anything after this. But you build civilizations on top of the civilizations that came before, and you build ideals on top of the things that came before.
I don't want to be in a war. I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to get armed.
It's not going well. It's not going well everywhere that there is a war. Right. But yeah, I mean,
my son has to sign up for the draft. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, the minute there's one, if they call up one person, we're flying to Luxembourg immediately.
Right.
With
right.
Our
When they reinstate.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing is so Luxembourg is part of the EU, which means that you can live in Ireland.
Yes, that's true. I thought all this out. Yes.
You would enjoy Ireland.
Oh, I know.
You've been. You like it already, probably.
I love it.
They even have comedy there.
They have some very good comedy there. Yes.
You get to.
What?
I have to say, I'm super jealous.
Good.
Because you get
Finally.
to play. You get to play the EU, and legally, and you could make. You could live there and make bank.
Girl, guess what? I've been plotting it for several years, trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. I'd love to live in Paris, and the more like somebody, I don't know. My blue sky algorithm is turning into like making cities better and less pollution and less cars. And Paris, the mayor of Paris, just like made a lot of streets. No cars are on these streets, right? They
bikes.
Yeah, bikes, pedestrian, and they show these graphs of pollution and how it's gone down so much in the city of Paris just by making these pedestrian malls out of some of these streets. It's incredible.
Do you remember right after we went into lockdown and they showed the pollution across the earth? Remember those charts? Yeah. And how much pollution had gone down because no one was driving. No one was flying. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Let me open this door for this dog real quick.
Okay.
There you go. I'm back.
So yes, Jackie, I am ready. I started that process after the Sandy Hook shootings. I was like, I got to be able to get out of here with my kid. Looked into Ireland. I was too many generations away, and then stumbled onto that Reddit thread
The
about
Luxembourg thing.
and was like, whoa, let me try it. So yeah, it's not easy to just move to. It's not. I mean, that part it will be easy for me, but I got to learn a language. I gotta. I got to like leaving your home country is really fucking hard. As any refugee can speak to it much better than I can. You know.
Right, and a friend of mine. Her husband, they're one of their kids is trans, and right after the election, he said, "My friend is Canadian, and her husband is not, and they live in Seattle." And her husband said, "We're going to go live by your mother near Montreal, and we're going to sell a house, and we're going to take the kids, and we're going to Canada." And she said, "We just finished. The house is perfect. We've lived here 10 years. I don't really want to leave the house." And she goes, and he said, "I really want to leave my country."
Right. Yeah.
I love my country, but I love my kids more.
Yeah.
And I think if you got kids, if you are endangered, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I don't have kids. I should stay and fight, you know? Because someone has to stay and fight.
That's true. But I also have always just wanted to live in Europe, anyway. I mean,
well, sir.
For 1 year in my life, I wanted that, right? Always.
Yes, well, me too. And granted, if I could figure out a way to take the next 4 years and go on that world tour of a cruise, and I'd get to do stand-up
be the comic
for 4
on that
years.
Cruise. Oh, wow, interesting, right?
Talk about it. Talk about alcoholism. I just give up. Just crawl into a tiny.
Uh-oh.
Hey, let's take our second break if we would like.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, it's going to be Max Fun time coming up here. So
yay.
It's going to be maxfun.org/join. And this year is the first year that Max Fun is worker owned. That's kind of exciting.
Is it? I thought they did that a couple years ago.
It might be, but I thought it was this. I thought it was like a year ago. And then the other thing people should know is Patreon. We have our Patreon, which is just I think under Jackie and Laurie, like patreon.com/Jackie and Laurie. And there's different tiers, and you get different stuff for all of it. And you want to do? Let's do a. I'm gonna stop. Essentially cock teasing the Zoom show, and let's actually schedule one for next week. Why don't we do it?
Yeah.
Because you come back on Sunday, and then
let's see. I come back on the 1st. I mean, I could do one. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
I've had so much free time, Jackie.
I know you've had free time. I haven't had any free time.
Yes, I know.
How weird would it be if I wanted to do a New Year's Eve show?
Ooh, I mean, what time?
Right, because you'll be on the East Coast, so if we did it noon here, that'd be 3 p.m. your time.
That's doable.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to write it down. Noon, New Year's Eve, Zoom, and whatever all the listeners of Jackie and Laurie should know is that it'll be free if you're on Max Fun. You'll get the link, or if you're a Patreon, you'll get the post, and then otherwise you'll either have to join Patreon or Max Fun or some. I don't know.
Yeah.
Should we make it where people pay? That seems like a lot of work.
Let's just.
People are already paying.
This is a perk for the people that pay.
Yeah,
that's it.
So you guys are supportive, and we want to give something back before the end of the year. Yes. So it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, we waited to the very last day. We do need a December comic to interview, right?
Oh, do we? That's right, because we every year, every month we do a comic.
Yeah,
and we already did Aparna, right? Yeah.
We'll talk about this.
We'll find.
Yeah.
It's a real clock eater, you guys. That's figuring out the behind the scenes. But I have an amazing new line.
Okay.
That I'm pretty psyched about. And it's in the middle of my mask bit. My mask bit, which I was opening with for like the first 6 months after lockdown. Now it sounds so old.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That, except for that there are still people masked up, and we should all be terrified to find out that some moron licked a bird in New Orleans, and so there's a new bird to human flu. Did you hear about the new bird to human flu?
Jackie, yes,
of
it's
course.
called bird flu. I've been aware of it for a year, and it wasn't. No one licked any. These are farm workers that are not protected enough, and they're.
That's what Andy said. Andy said, "No, what you're talking about is an agricultural state that doesn't have great hygiene laws." And I said, "That's what I said. Somebody licked a bird, Andy." Okay,
Jackie, I'm taking Andy's as usual. I take Andy's side in your marriage. I'm on Andy's team.
We all are. I'm on Andy's side.
California, they just Newsom just declared a state of emergency because of bird flu in California. It's not just Louisiana. It's like a lot of they just don't. They either don't have them. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. I'm just saying that we're allowing it to happen. The CDC isn't doing anything. Biden isn't doing anything. Biden is checked out completely, and he has been on this issue the whole time he's been president. And he's checked out, and he's handing the wheel to we know what's coming. So
but I will say that the things that he's done are amazing, and he's essentially run his presidency like a senator. So he's done it all behind closed doors, and he's achieved so much, like infrastructure wise and stuff like that. And did you see? So the 37 that federal death row guys that he commuted, the 3 that he didn't. Did you see that list?
Yeah, they're mass shooters.
Yeah, the one for the Boston Marathon, the Black Church, and the synagogue. Yeah. And he was like, even if I'm against the death penalty, we're going to leave those 3. And
the thing is Trump loved using the death penalty on a lot of federal cases that stuff. He could. So he just has 3 that he can do, and 2 of them were terrorizing minorities. So we'll see if he gets all trigger happy again with these mass shooters. Look at me. Charmy came in. She says hello. Yeah. I don't know, Jackie. We're straying from comedy, our core.
Right. But so what I have is the mask joke has a new, sort of a little new life to it because it has a new line in it.
Oh, about bird flu?
Good. It's about bird flu. So, so there's a new bird flu, you guys. So now it saved my mask bit.
That's you know what? For those of us that had jokes about George, the original George Bush invading Iraq, and then we had to lose those jokes when George W. Bush invaded Iraq. We could bring him back. So it's always great when another atrocity happens that lines up with our material about the previous atrocity. We're always so happy.
It's so true. It's so true. Just the journey. It's all so cyclical. And then my veterinarian bit is almost working. They're psyched about because there's a thing about my stand-up comedy where and it always has been it's not, I'm loath to say, because bookers have said this to me, that it's too smart or that there's something, it's too zingery, and you're like,
zingery.
Zingery. I was just like, screw you.
Yeah.
That's so the joke is very pointed, and it's a setup, and there's a joke. There's the punchline. So people get the joke, they laugh, and then they go, ho ho.
Right.
And you're just like, ugh, it's fine, but whatever. So what I have learned in the last, I would say 20 years, is how to tag it with, and this is actually a gift of Andy Ashcraft, because he enjoys a silly tag. He will sometimes say something that will inspire a very silly tag, or he'll tag it himself with something that's absurd.
Yeah.
And so it's got 2 absurd tags on it. So there's this zinger that people laugh, and then they go, ho ho. And then I do the zinger, and the first zinger, it relieves them. They can just laugh at how silly that joke, the whole joke becomes because of the tag.
Yeah.
And then I do the second one, which makes them hate me again. It's very sad.
Jackie, you can't stop yourself. I get it.
You can't. There's part of me that wants a third one so I can get him back. I think we talked about it last week too, but yeah, so that's, and I audio recorded both sets on Friday. And so I definitely need to listen to them, because there was a lot of, the way things came out of my face, the way they,
right.
Yeah.
I have a lot of crowd work to go through. I don't know. It's weird. Like, that stuff does okay. Sometimes it does well, but it never does as well as jokes. Thank God, right?
Yeah.
But
right.
I guess I can find some more old jokes. I don't know. And then I'm like, why am I in front of my computer? I don't want to be here. And I have like an unending assignment for a couple months. So part of me is like, you can't be working on any of this shit. You have this other big thing that's just a constant, you just have to throw, coals into the oven until it's finished. So it's endless writing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's just, I've been waiting for the video from the den for when I opened with Maria, because I think it was Saturday first or second show, where there was the guy who brought the notebooks and put them on the stage.
Okay.
That I ended up talking to the guy and explaining to him that he couldn't ask Maria to sign something during her set.
Oh my God.
And
oh my God.
And so he took them down, and then he asked her anyway, and she did during her set. And but I'm wondering if, like, my interaction with him, what that sounds like or looks like on the video. But I have not yet gotten the den video. I was supposed to get the den video, and I have not gotten it. So I'm going to look at the paperwork and see if I have that guy's email address. Because I would like that video just to see if there's a clip there. I clipped something out that had never been clipped out before.
Yeah.
And the first line said, "Correct me if I'm wrong." And several people have decided to correct me.
Oh, God. I wish people would read their comment. Read the comments before you jump in with your cute little comment.
I was like, oh, I asked for this, but I don't want you to.
I just pushed out No Inglés Domingo again as an ad reel, and it got new life again. So I got about, a couple hundred new followers just from that again.
That's cool. That's one of the popular ones.
I don't want this life. I don't want this life.
Oh, the one where you just have to count how many people are viewing a video and how many people follow. Right. That weird joke about Andy saying something like, "That's not boyfriend expectations." From 12 years ago, whatever. 9 million views, almost 10 million views.
When did you put it out? When did you?
Months ago.
Did it just have a revival, or is that just cumulative that you just noticed?
I think it's cumulative that I just noticed. And I want to call each of those people and go, did you watch the whole special?
No.
Because it's not like that. And they haven't watched the whole special.
No.
Very sad. Very disappointing. Yes, I get it. So be it. Anyway, so but there's gonna be a bonus before maybe before the end of the year with December's interview, just a half-hour audio interview with a fellow comic.
Former comic of the week, always, yeah.
Always former comic of the week, and then always fun. And then we're gonna do a Zoom, and then we're gonna go do stand-up comedy, and then life will continue, right?
Sure, yeah. As you insist, life continues.